So in this video, we're talking about cross sections. And to start off with, I want to go back to that demonstration that we've talked about in the past about a 3D printer. Remember, a 3D printer prints one layer of an object at a time, just kind of building up from the bottom. You could think of each of these layers, these flat circles, as what's called a cross section. It's a section that you get when you cut across the shape. So a cross section is two-dimensional. It's like, imagine you sliced through your shape. What two-dimensional shape would that be? So like, if I took this square pyramid here and I sliced through it, I could get a square. I could also get a variety of other things, triangles and stuff. With the cylinder, if I sliced through it, in this case I got a circle, but I could get like a rectangle or some like semi-circles, that kind of thing. So we're just going to explore this a bit in this video, but that's all a cross-section is. It's basically Fruit Ninja, slicing through a three-dimensional object and seeing what two-dimensional shape it creates. A cross-section, just to re-emphasize, is two-dimensional. Also, some of you have played around with my crazy Rubik's Cube that I have. You could think of each of these slices as a cross-section. So slicing through here,
106 is on campus, but 106 is on campus.
So we were going to do this activity with Play-Doh and slice through it, and if you have some at home, feel free to do that. You could slice through it with some floss or like a credit card. It's a good way to visualize these cross-sections. Here's another just kind of definition. When a 3D solid is cut by a plane, the resulting 2D figure is called a cross-section. So again, if you want to experiment with Play-Doh, you can do that. We're going to do it virtually using an interactive that I've put the link on Google Classroom. So if you will open this interactive so that you can kind of follow along and play around with it. So rather than use Play-Doh, we're going to use this. It's a little more precise. You can choose which three-dimensional shape you want right here. This is a double cone. You may not have seen that before. You can pick a cone, a cylinder, a pyramid. If you want to change what type of pyramid it is, change the number of lateral faces. So rather than like 5 faces, if I want 4, that would be a square pyramid or a triangular pyramid. And then you can also do a prism. This prism is currently a pentagonal prism, but again, if you change the number of lateral faces, now it's a cube because it only has 6 sides, or a triangular prism, or a cube. Okay, this red line here indicates the cross section, and this kind of draws it out for you. So if you use these other sliders, they'll show you various cross sections. You can also move this around as well if you need some additional help visualizing it. Okay, so use that as a tool and go ahead and start with a cube. So make a cube on this interactive here and see if you can figure out what sorts of different cross sections you could create. There are actually many. There's more than just a square. So play around with that, pause the video, and then come back when you've experimented a bit. Okay, so a cube, obviously we could make a square. We could also make just like a rectangle. Let me see if I can do this. This isn't going very well. Did you notice this? With a cube, I could actually slice through all 6 sides. And if you slice through all 6 sides, like I have here, see that? If I sliced it right down that way, that would actually form a hexagon. If I sliced through just 5 sides, it would be a pentagon. And if I slice through just 4 sides, it would be some sort of quadrilateral. You could get a square, a rectangle, or just random quadrilaterals. And you could even slice through just 3 sides. We do that. So do you see how this would actually create a triangle as a cross section if you just like chopped a corner off? These can be a little hard to visualize, so I want to play you this Khan Academy video real fast that shows a few different cross sections of a cube. We'll jump through this.
What I want to do in this video is explore the types of two-dimensional shapes we can construct by taking planar slices of cubes. So what am I talking about? Well, let's say
Okay, so hold on, let's just jump through it. So you could create a square.
then the intersection of your
This one is just a rectangle. He kind of chopped off a corner but all the way down and made a rectangle. This one he made a triangle by just chopping off a corner here. On this one he makes a pentagon. He cuts through 5 sides. And on this one he makes a hexagon by...
What I want to do in this video is explore the type...
by going through all 6 sides. Anyway, that was a valiant effort. You don't need to memorize these by any means. You just need to be able to like figure it out. Like if I were to slice through this, what kind of stuff could I create? A cube is very similar to a rectangular prism as far as cross sections. A sphere is very boring as far as cross sections go. When you cut through a sphere, pretty much only going to get a circle. Cutting through a cylinder, if you go horizontal, you could get a circle. If you go slanted, you could get like an oval. If you go straight up vertical, you could get a rectangle. So you can play around with that on the interactive if you want. Goodness. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, there you go. So you can make ovals. You could even get like various like curved shapes. Okay. Like I said, rectangular prism is similar to a cube. Triangular prism, you could get triangles, rectangles, various other shapes as well if you want to try and experiment with the interactive, see what you can get. A cone, if you go horizontal, you're going to get circles. If you go vertical, you're going to get a triangle. If you don't believe me, try it on the interactive. And then you could get ovals and other things as well. You can even get like a parabola kind of shape if you went like this.
Miss Earl, if you could come to the front office, please. Miss Earl.
A pyramid, you could get squares and rectangles and triangles, cut off a corner, all sorts of, or go vertical. Same thing with this pyramid as well. So feel free to continue to explore. Again, you don't need to memorize those, just be able to be like, to just figure it out, to use your spatial awareness skills. Okay. Typically the cross sections that you might get asked about would be horizontal or vertical. Horizontal would be the same thing as parallel to the base in this case, because the base is on the ground. So what cross section is parallel to the base? Means like if I were to chop through this and stay parallel with the base, what would I get? And that would be a circle for a cone. What's the shape of a vertical 2D cross section? In this case, that would be a triangle. So here's the practice. This is on Google Classroom for you to just practice this. So just draw out what sort of shape this cross section would make. Like if you took this pyramid and you sliced through it right there like it shows, what shape would that be?